Hey guys, it's Jessica. It's 4:30 in the morning. I have a little bit of bug paranoia. I let them feed on me 2 nights in a row. I think that's good enough of a chance, considering I get the bed bug exterminator in today. So, yeah. I have a bunch of my videos back or made public now, so that's good. And I'm not sure if the date will just say today, but for the most part, I've been saying when and so on. Speaking of, I think it's January 25th today. Yeah, because it's officially Monday. I went over all of my videos thus far, and I haven't really taken you guys through my collections. I haven't explained why I named Terminator what I did, or Shitler. Shitler's new name was Yin Yang. That didn't fit him, so we renamed him Ollie. So Terma, I kept her name that way because she's adorable, and there was a female Terminator, so kind of worked. I just realized that Summer Girl, from Big Bang Theory, I think she was Terminator. She was in Dollhouse. That just clicked. Ugh, hate it when you remember things that are totally useless, but they come to you anyway. And then when you need to remember something important, right? So, oh, human experience, life experiences. Alright, so this drawing you guys have probably seen a few times is by Chris, and it was a few years ago. He does some interesting work. That one is also by Chris. I explained that in one of my previous videos, but basically it says, "Happy, pass it on. Chris the demon lives on." Yeah, that's what it says. um, we've seen a lot of movies together, and he's unbelievably sweet. So I really might be a little ADD, or at the very least unable. When I really decide on something, I decide. I will go with it until the end of time, but I run fast and he runs slow, so I'm constantly that, and I had a lot of trouble with men. That didn't really improve. Oh well. A lot of men screw me over when I was younger, so it's kind of, yeah. And, even more recently, really. So I'm kind of always just up and down. I can make the excuses, but really, I'm a bitch. I'm I'm high maintenance, and I run fast, like I said. So he he's put up with that pretty good, and I don't know why, but I don't know. He's sweet. He's really sweet. He bought me that orchid even though it was roses before, and he's given me things like all sorts of things. And that doesn't really, buy love or anything like that, but the movies and wanting to spend time, and he's really good at cuddling, so whatever. This isn't really anybody's business, but if I'm gonna tell, a bunch of people that I'm sick of his shit online, then I might as well be forward about the good stuff too. So, oh, looking at everything, kind of going, I don't know. I've been eating a little bit too much. I get that my metabolism is kind of kickstarting, and I've been drinking a lot of water and stuff, but good God, I shouldn't have eaten the ice cream. Other than that, it's mostly been healthy. Derek offered me a cookie. I'm trying to cut sugar out. Whatever. So, there's a couple of other things, I guess, that I could explain as far as, spiritual stuff. Oh, this could get really, really heady and really, really all over the place. I really did think I could be a leader, so I'm not gonna go too deep into details. I liked astrology. I still do. I liked I liked the idea of chakras because the spine is just so sensitive. I mean, you sit for too long, you crack your neck and nerves and all of that. Like I am infinitely curious about everything, and it makes some sense to me. So I kind of amalgamated all these things together. Christianity was what I was mostly brought up with, particularly Catholic, but it was kind of all over. And I think what I really like is Unitarian, whatever it is. They seem to be basically what I was coming up with in my mind. Jesus had these great ideas of life is supposed to be about doing good things and about being who you are, and giving unto others, and do unto others what you would have them do to you. Basic lessons, a little bit of harshness. The dark and the light have their good, and I got down all of it. I looked at all of religion and I went, you know what, you might not agree with this opinion, but maybe it'll work for that person. Or I mean, in the end, you can justify anything, and in the end, if you're not a good person, it'll come back to you. There's no real separation except for the ones that define us as individuals or categorize you in where you're supposed to be. I mean, you kill people, you're a murderer. There's no, you want to kill people, you're an angry person. There is no, it gets pretty simple at the end of the day. And I thought that maybe didn't think so much that spirituality was the pinnacle of it. That was the phase in which I was fascinated by it. From 16 to 18, I was just, how do I figure this out? Why does it do this? Why do people like these things and that things? And I eventually got into witchcraft, or Wiccan, as they're calling it, because, well, first of all, I was a pothead and communing with nature constantly. And second of all, I wanted to understand the esoteric and the weird. I mean, I was already into quantum mechanics. I was already into the weird parts of science. So spirituality and science have very thin lines separating them. In the end, it all comes down to timing, or what you need to see, what you're supposed to see, what you're supposed to use to get to the next thing. It's just tools for life, and there's so many little details, but at the end of the day, I understood about 5 things. There's me, there's the entire world, and everything that I can't know at this time or that I can know someday, or that maybe I have known, that all these people know, the world, just life. There's the duality, the up, down, left, right, light, dark, female, male, all of that, positive, negative, goes on forever. That is the basic life principle. And the other two things was more like, even science and religion go into that. I mean, it's fascinating. And then the other thing was more like, there has to be a purpose for me. I'm obviously an individual. I'm obviously human. There's obviously certain things that I can't reach. And as I went through time, in the order that I went through, with all the things that I knew from being born and dragging it through being a teenager, I went these particular ways. I made these particular choices. And I wound up realizing light and dark are important. You can become one of them and still work for the other. You can't have aspects of both, and inherently have to, but the choices that you make are permanent. They are in here, and I had to figure out where I was going with it. So I was a pretty dark person, and there's ebbs and flows with that. You can change, that's what they say. You are young, blah blah blah, whatever. I was pretty dark. It wasn't that I had a lot of, I wanted to deal with all the negative stuff. I wanted to put things in their order, and that brings me to my fifth thing. You can label it politics or social or relationships, me communicating with the rest of the world, or understanding people, or like, the very specifics of life as I was living it out. Boil it all back down, there's only 5 things that, rotate it in a way. And that's the basics of where I've landed now, and what I've figured out, and where I'm going. But I was really dark up until about 2 years ago. I liked punk, and I hated certain types of people, as we usually do. Nobody likes the serial killers. They scare us at night. Everybody hates pedophiles, and when it comes right down to it, it's a problem. It's I can't get too deep into that without going over the details of things, but I could defend the murderers, and I could defend the pedophiles. There is the information in my brain as I was going into the darkest of the dark of which one is better. Why that's a problem at all was the thing that made me go through all of that information, and how to solve that problem. And in the end, they feed into each other. You kill pedophiles, and you ultimately become a killer. You praise the people who are so bold as to kill, and you ultimately stay a child for the rest of your life. It's not that clear cut, and maybe the wording might sound a little off when put that close together, but those were the 2 things that were right at the top that I had to wrap my mind around. Anyway, the end of the day, being born sucks and dying sucks. You know, we're always trying to find a reason not to die. We're always trying to find something that keeps us going, which brings us into reincarnation, which brings us into what should we be doing that's good for the world. And I got so sick of it. I really did. I don't, even now I'm boring myself, or kind of in a deer caught in the headlights gaze, because it's just such a vast topic, which is kind of why I'm materialistic now. First of all, I'm in my 20s. Second of all, I spent so much time giving a damn about people that now's my time. I just have to balance that, make sure I don't go too far with, but whatever. Getting back to what I was saying. There's only so much a person can do in their lifetime, and we can't strive to be the best of the best. There is no guarantee that we can't die. There is no way science can really, signs maybe, leading yourself into the right whatever, but ultimately wouldn't we all become exhausted if we could live forever? There's so many movies about it and so many concepts, and there's so many different killers that aren't people at the end of the day. It really does come full circle. These might be strange things to talk about and stuff, but to those who don't want to talk about them, click to the next video. I'm sure I'll endlessly entertain you with my rattling of nothing. Infinity is a concept that merely defines life. It keeps going in one form or another, be it a cancer cell or a bed bug or an atom or a fish. I mean, it could be anywhere. And I loved discovering all these things. Being a teenager is endlessly tragic and traumatic in that, oh my god, and whoa, really, and what do you mean I have to be responsible for myself? And just the intake of information. But I like right now too. There's nothing like finally having my own place and expressing myself to people, all sorts of people. But that's enough about that. Let's see. Just to fill in the blanks of my story, I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. I moved around a lot. I met Cassie when I was 15. I recall this now. Excuse me, grade 8. Didn't graduate high school because I just didn't do the work. I was too lazy to do it all by myself. It's a different thing now. Now I just, now I'm too ADD about it, but but I do eventually make my mark and research something for hours, and I would say that I'm not as dark as I used to be. I touched on a lot of dark subjects because, well, there's no real because, I didn't know why. Figure get the worst of it over with and head into the light. And it's been to that extent, it's been that way a lot, Star really does look like she's doing better. She doesn't need to be watered for like a week, maybe less. What else is there? I still think I could have an effect. I don't think it matters if I'm really a leader or anything like that. Tonight I kind of found, well, not found, I found a vapor thing. And Derek, guys gotta stop giving me stuff. People gotta stop giving me things. I mean, not entirely. You know, I still have a birthday and there's still Christmas, but like, people gotta stop giving me things. I feel guilty about that. That is something I wanted to say. Do you ever get that feeling when you have money that you should be giving it away? Do you ever feel guilty when you actually have? Or I worked at a call center while I lived in Greenwood. More about me. Yay. And it never occurred to me to feel guilty about having when other people didn't, but people would start asking me for more, or, you know, could I have a little bit of weed, or a little, could I have some more smokes? I mean, you have, fuck. And now it's the same thing, but in the opposite way. I feel guilty if I don't give, because I'm always trying to get more, and when I actually have it, it's like, well, crap. But they don't, but that person, but shit. And you know what? That was the dark phase. You know, it was always trying to give more. It's hard to not say to that, because it's like, you know, but at the same time, the people who have just given me things because I wish I could pay it forward more. I really do. But you know what? I'm gonna. There's always time. And now it's hard not to feel guilty when I'm not supposed to, when people are taking advantage of that, you know. I have to balance it as much as anybody else does. I'm talking like I'm made out of, you know, thousands. But you know, $1, some of us really don't know the worth, and that was a huge thing. Why do we need money? Why money? And, you know, it's forced on you at a young age to want, and to and to need to earn what you have, which is a great thing. It really is. But I guess that kind of leads into the whole I'm on welfare thing. For the whole time that I was in shelters, which was basically the last 4 years, I refused. I refused to be labeled disabled. You know, it wasn't that, I mean, I'd never been put on medication, and I kind of wondered when I was younger if I should have been, this, that, and the other thing. I tested myself. I put myself through the ringer as much as other people. As much as I will other people, I mean. So I refused. It was about the money. I don't know. If I can get through this on my own, I will. If I can get through this on my own, I will. And I struggled with that, and I couldn't get anywhere. I couldn't find a friggin' job. I couldn't find a place for $300 a month. It wouldn't have been so bad to be living with somebody, but it was the whole, sometimes being alone is just really what somebody needs. So Anyway, I found Phil. You know, at the end of the day, maybe he wasn't that bad of a guy, but I have this thing with men. Grow up. If you don't have a job, get one. If you have a job and a lot of bad habits, get away from me. If you have a job and a couple of bad habits and, you know, you're about this 3 simple things, you know, money, sex, and yourself, cool. But everything else, you know, no. And it's kind of hard. Kind of hard to say. I know I messed up. It was my fault. But I just wanted to try it once. Crack cocaine. Just once. Because he kept bringing it. I kept bringing it. And you can't say that I don't understand if I try it. And so I said, please don't bring it back. Brought it back. Brought it back. And offered it to me. Long cycle. I've already seen all these people addicted to drugs. I've already seen girls selling themselves. So that was a long 1.5 years. And then the client, I was kind of back and forth between them, making the money, being off the drugs. You know, people would offer it to me and I'd have a hard time saying no, so there was the odd puff here and there, but that 1/2 year blended into the other 1/2 year, which turned into I'm back at the fucking shelter. And finally I gave in. Alright, so what's my disability? Am I bipolar? Am I ADD? Am I this, that, and the other thing? And you know, bipolar is just another word for moody. Unless you go on crazy sprees of just freaking out at random, or, you know, you're angry for an hour, like just the only way I could see it actually being a problem is you being angry for an entire hour and then happy the next hour and completely 100% off the charts, rocketing through. But hey, what do I know? There's so many specifics and I'm learning a lot about it now. So I went with, okay, well, I can't focus. I'm always on the move. I get anxious. I gotta be ADD. So that's what I've labeled myself. And the chances are it's true. Everybody's got a little bit of crazy. And you know what? The only reason I don't like the label aspect of it is I don't need to be on drugs. ADD people are typically given uppers. You know what? And I've had issues with uppers. I don't like having to pause for the people who aren't keeping up. And I don't like feeling more down about myself than I normally am. I have fairly high self-esteem. Not, I wouldn't call it overconfidence. I just keep talking until I bring myself back down. You know, that's my pattern. And bipolar, you know, I feel like people with bipolar are kind of my natural opposite. They're kind of going the other pattern, the other waves, you know. they they see things, that stimulates the feeling, whereas I'm all about doing things, you know, I'm crashing my head into everything, my eyes, and whereas bipolars think themselves into, you know, just makes sense, but what do I know? uh mental mental disability is stupid in my mind. You know, we all need to eat. We all create chemicals in here, and our body creates chemicals and requires certain things. And whatever it is that people get from doctors, I'm not sure that it's all 100%. You know, and I have to be careful that I don't get addicted to adrenaline, so I'm going to cut jogging, and that's mostly to protect my bones. Like, that's the reason I'm using, but I can't be go 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 all the time. I can run around my room. I can run, you know, jog or brisk walk and then do a little jog across the street when there's a car coming to the library, but I can't be going 24/7, and I can't be running every day as well as exercising every day. I can't. I'll just dance. I'll do things. I can't get addicted to adrenaline is what I'm saying. So, have I bored you yet? Oh. The reason why I like astrology is because I like the idea that people are individuals. They have their own personality. They cannot be exactly like me, and I cannot be exactly like them, and I can't tell them what to do, and they can't tell me what to do. We have to use that vast number of personalities to create a balance that makes the world tick, keeps things going, and that's my, you know, my true spirituality. If I have to get into multi-theism or Unitarian, or, you know, the world being one, then that's my guideline thing right there. The whole timing thing is great. It's excellent, but getting too much into that will make a conspiracy theorist out of you, or, you know, the world's going to end. I can find out when I'm going to die. No, I don't want to know. I will know. I'll know. Wait till that comes. So, all that and a bag of chips. Mmm. My back is a little bit sore. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Well, I'm going to go visit my acquaintance over at the gas station in a little while. I'm going to write more of my book. A book of poetry. And here's hoping everything is in depth and you guys had fun. Much love as always, and see you next time.